What's going on, Stargazer? So I'm here to talk about the Chinese New Year of the metal bull or the metal cow. And it's really interesting. I have to admit, I did not write about, since 2013, really since the water snake or the water dragon, I've written every year about the Chinese zodiac. I did forecasts for them, and I didn't do it for 2020. As many of you know, I was a longtime Buddhist and I broke away from that, retaining all the lessons that I took with it. But I studied Tibetan and Chinese astrology. I explored it, and I also really went into it, but I stopped writing about these forecasts. And then I did that in 2020, like for the year of 2020. And it was kind of a really big mistake that I did that, because 2020, we had a big virus come out of Wuhan, out of China. So that was COVID-19, and it hit the States around the same time as Chinese New Year. So I remember being in Los Angeles, celebrating Chinese New Year with one of my dear friends. We were at this, where were we at? I think we were in downtown LA at Wang's. I can't remember, but it was really amazing. And then the coronavirus started to hit, and fortunately I was able to travel around before the borders first started going out. Either way, the point is that I didn't write about the year of the metal rat, which ruled over 2020. And we know rats, you think of a rat on a ship, they carry diseases. And I made that mistake, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. And the reason why it is a mistake is because I didn't delineate and kind of write out all of the things that could happen from the metal rat, because when you know it, you can transcend it. And if you don't know it, or if you ignore it, or if you don't want to accept it, or if you deny it or suppress it, then it rules over you. So that's my atonement. So now, of course, I'm writing it. I don't really use Chinese or Tibetan astrology anymore, but I am translating it into Dash astrology, and you just kind of say, like, what can we do? How can we overcome? Metal years. So we had the metal rat. Now we're going to have the metal bull, the metal cow that's starting um, on the new moon in Aquarius, which I'm having an online workshop for. And it's the second metal year cycle. So the metal translates into air, that has to do with our lungs, our breathing, of course, respiratory issues, COVID, they suck, right? So there we see the connection there. And of course, the rats carry diseases, viruses, all that. And there's a lot to think about. I've delineated and wrote a big forecast on this whole metal bull, which you can read about, but I just kind of want to get it out there a little bit on video, because it's really a lot to understand. We have to really become aware of what we're facing and what we can do, because not all schools of astrology are the same. And so just like, with any school, you are going to learn different things in different schools, and not all schools are created equal, right? And this also applies to astrology. If we do Google astrology, then that's the wisdom we're going to get. You guys, pretty much, like, for example, right away, bull years are not the best for spirituality, because there's a lot of emphasis on materialism. And we are also in a Hierophant bull Taurus year now in 2021. So there's like a lot of bull energy, a lot of BS, if you will. Now, if you are, for example, studying spirituality or learning about the laws of the cosmos or law of attraction or how to manifest, and you're doing it from free sources that cost nothing, that's what you're going to get out of it. Nothing, right? So it's about investing. It's about really seeing it. And we're going to see huge changes in our financial market, with the crypto. This is like, if you are in the crypto community, if you know what's going on there, this is a huge year for that. So this is like really big for Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the altcoins and everything, all like that, because every industry has become digital. We have Uranus and Taurus. Taurus is money. Uranus is technology. We've even seen, like, Tesla bought a lot of Bitcoin. It's very interesting. So we see that at almost every single industry, except for the health industry, has really made the jump into virtual, digital. This is all thanks to the rat, because we had to do things digitally. And of course, health is more like we're doing it on Zoom, all these things. Really interesting. Zoom, we know, is a Chinese company, so it's really interesting that they went public also before COVID broke out, I believe. But anyhow, it's like if you're following the markets, you will see a lot of really intense changes going on there as well. It could be as we see it as like a bull year, right? So that means like there's like an increase. So anyhow, what can we do on other levels? So it's about investing in ourselves. Um, it's also really interesting because I even wrote in the forecast. I was watching one of the early interviews with the owner of Liberate Hollywood that before it closed down, and she was talking about how it was interesting how everyone was going home for Chinese New Year, and then they came back, and then Corona hit, and I thought like going home to China, and then it came out, and so I thought this was just really interesting. So it got me thinking, as a healer, as an entrepreneur, as someone that uses financial, medical, and investigative astrology, and I've developed my own astrological systems, like to kind of see like okay, there's something there to that. And so now I need to really delineate that. So the metal rat, yeah, it did a number on us. The rat, sneaky. Rats are sneaky. I mean, if people, a lot of people are scared of rats. Think about the rats, and that was 2020. So the Chinese cycles are based on the cycles of Jupiter. So Jupiter in Capricorn is associated with the rat. Jupiter in Aquarius, which we are now, is with the bull. So we really want to not make the same mistake, obviously, that we did last year. And the bull is confronting us with our entitlement issues that we had with the Corona planets that were in Capricorn. Everything's moving in now into Aquarius. So what we need to use, we need to use the cow's logic against itself. We need to know that anyone that abides by Chinese astrology or Tibetan astrology, that's the energy that they're going to get. So this is about defunding idol worship. This is about stepping away from, wondering if people like us, or wondering if people like our content, or wondering like, this and that. It's like about really being confident and investing in yourself and allowing yourself to expand. And this is, of course, as always, starting with the new moon in Aquarius. So the metal bull, some obvious predictions, like I just said. Of course, we want to take care of our lungs. Uranus is in Taurus. Please read my forecast on that. That's been in there for like 7 years. I talk about the 7 keys that we need to have to unlock the energy of Uranus transiting through Taurus. Definitely get your carnelian egg if you haven't already, because we're in a Hierophant year. This is a Taurus year. There's really just so much to talk about, and so many things that are changing. So we really, probably one of the most important things that we need to keep in mind also, aside from all the changes into the digital world, is that the metal energy cuts, right? Metal energy cuts. So society has been cut, for example. And we also need to keep in mind that the bull can be very like activating dictatorship, activating authoritarian patterns. And the reason why I'm saying this, once again, why I'm even talking about the Chinese forecast, is because it's like when we're aware of it, then we can transcend it. So we need to overcome how this translates, how the metal bull translates into something that we can work with is, of course, the golden calf, right? The golden calf analogy that we know from, ancient times. This is the gold, right? Metal, the golden calf, that's essentially metal. So this is about idol worship. And we have to also think about something that's called like an egregore, right? An egregore. And this is like when we create something, right, out of our thoughts and our beliefs. That is what the golden calf was. This was about impatience. And the golden calf actually was a very advanced computer for its time, even more advanced than what we're used to today, probably even more advanced. And it's really like really interesting that we think about these things, because an egregore is like this, it's this group thought form, and we can give it power, and it can be created either intentionally or unintentionally, and becomes like an entity with power and with influence. And when we plug into these egregores, these sources, then we are going to energy drain ourselves. So a group, for example, with a common purpose, like a family or a club or a country or a political party or a church, whatever, they can create an egregore. And that's what happened with the rat. And I didn't talk about it, and I'm really sorry about that. But now I'm talking about the bull, which is the second cycle of the metal rat. And we are able to, with that, stop that cycle, for better or for worse, depending on the type of thought that, was created with it, because we can also create positive thoughts as well. So you guys, what I have to say with, all of that is, like, um, there's a lot of forces that, can oppose us, and they can fight dirty. Definitely with this metal bull year, it's really about the idol worship, and we need to know that we cannot put our connection with source or God or the universe underneath anything materialistic. And when we do that, we weaken ourselves. That's what we do. We weaken ourselves. We can really create our reality. We don't want to be praying to demigods and, people on our screens and stuff. We want to really be connected to our essential self, and then draw down the energy we need to create our reality, and to, clear our vortices and make sure our crown is connected. That's what I've been talking about. It's amazing. So let's all do it, right? And we can really turn this trajectory around. I really believe it. And as we are, visualizing that and going through with that, and being, you know better when you do better, or you do better when you know better. So um, let's tap into our happiness that's independent of materialism, because then once we do that, then we can truly have everything. And that's, of course, also what the bull or the Taurus wants to give us. So, look at where Taurus is in your chart, see where Jupiter transiting Aquarius is in your chart, which house is it falling into, what aspects is it making. I'm happy to do a chart reading for you. You can book me. Um, while you still can. So and I mean that in a really good way. It's just my calendar is getting really full. So you guys, I'm really happy to hear how this bull year is going for you. Bull year is about increase, could be followed by a bear year, but we will see. So uh, if you have any questions about finances, health or wellness, put it that way. I mean, I am a naturopath, so let's just let's just take one step at a time, one breath at a time, take care of your lungs, and looking forward to see how the bull year goes for all of us, including each and every one of you. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. Bye.